being on the call and welcome you. Welcome you because you took that decision to be here with us tonight for about maybe 45 minutes. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Mona Abderrahim Santel, and I am the owner of Mind Your Power. And like the name says, it's all about your power. It's all about how much power do we actually have and how much do we actually give sometimes to things from the outside, whether it's traffic, whether it's other people, family, whether it's work-related stress issues, or whether it's like now the confinement or the coronavirus. So it's really about taking back charge of your life. And that's why this series is called It's Your Life. So take charge of it. We have had amazing speakers so far, and every speaker has a little bit of another approach to tell you. They all have a lot of knowledge, a lot of wisdom, and a big heart to be here and to contribute. They really have a big heart. Every single one has been doing different things. So we had even some physical yoga sessions. We had laughter yoga. We had a lot of NLP and hypnosis related topics. And tonight I have a very, very, very good friend of mine talk here, and I have the pleasure to announce Elizabeth Campbell for you tonight. Elizabeth is a hypnotherapist, and also she teaches hypnotherapy. She also teaches NLP, and she is a theta-healing healer. I don't know how you say that. And she also teaches theta healing. Now, I remember about probably a little bit over 10 years ago, 11 years ago, she came to the convention where we always meet, and she said, I discovered something really, really awesome to add to the hypnosis. And she started telling us about theta healing. I had never heard of that before that. And she did some demonstrations, and she was convinced that this addition to the hypnosis just doubled the results and the success rate. I was very curious, and she did 2 sessions with me, one live and one even on the phone. And it felt great, and I was amazed. So today you can experience exactly that. She will explain to you a little bit about theta healing, what it is, and how it relates to our beliefs. And then she will guide you through this, so you today can actually change some beliefs if you want to. Now, Beth, from now on, it's all you. Please take over and just woo all of these people.
My pleasure. Thank you, Mona. So, Mona, you did so much of my job for me already with that introduction. Thank you. So, everything that I do works at the subconscious mind, the subconscious level of your mind. So, the theta healing gets there a little bit differently because there is a spiritual component to it. So, with hypnosis, I'm guiding you into trance, and you have access to the subconscious, and you allow me access, and we work together. The same with NLP. But with theta healing, I don't really have access to your subconscious. Instead, once we agree on something that you want changed, my job as the theta healer is to contact the higher power and have your higher power bring in the changes directly into your subconscious. So it couldn't be safer, it couldn't be faster or more thorough or more beautiful than that. It's just amazing. What is really important to know is that I don't get to do anything to you, because I don't really want to do anything to you. For you, yes. With you, yes. But when it comes to theta healing, when I ask if you want something, you actually have to say yes. You have to actually say yes, or whatever language you choose. So when your subconscious hears you agree to what I'm offering, then when the higher power sends it to you in a flash, it will go in. If you don't like what I offer, you don't have to say no. You can just say nothing. So the way I'm trying to organize it today is to start out with offering you things that I think are useful. You'll have an opportunity to add to that list. And then my part of the work on that, going up to Creator, asking for those things for you, will happen a little bit after that, because I'm going to guide you then into trance, take you to a place where you can do your own changes. And while you're silently doing that, I will also be doing the theta healing, my part of the theta healing. So by the time you open your eyes, you will have gotten everything you said yes to with me, and you will have made some of your own changes. But again, that will be theta healing style. So you'll have, by the end of the session, you'll have many changes. And you know, when Mona asked me to do this, it was several weeks ago, and there was so much more that was unknown about this whole process. Not what I'm doing, but the whole process of dealing with the COVID-19. You know, what was going to happen? How bad would it get? How is it going to affect you personally? How is it going to affect the general economy? There were so many unknowns that the fear, I think, was even stronger. And now I think, it seems in talking to so many people, it seems that the fear has broken up into frustration, impatience, feeling out of control. It's taken on many facets instead of just one great big unexplainable fear. So I'm offering downloads today to address those ideas. And if you think, oh, I already have that, I don't need that, I'm not going to say yes to that, I would suggest you say yes to it anyway, because consciously we may think, oh, I already know that. And you do know that consciously, but subconsciously you may not. And since we're not together and we can't do the muscle testing that we're able to do with theta healing to find out if your subconscious has it, why not just say yes? And if you already had it, okay. Now it'll just be a little deeper, a little more thorough. So I would pause now just to ask if anybody has any questions about the theta healing, because that was not a thorough explanation. It was more an explanation of what you'll get today and what your part in it would be. But does anybody have any questions? Sounds like that.
Beth, maybe can you just, the term download, maybe some people don't really know what it is, because you know, we know downloads for the computer, but if you could just explain that a little bit.
That was a part of my plan to explain, so I got way ahead of myself. Thank you, Mona. So when we say download, it is literally your higher power giving you something you didn't have before, and it's going right into your subconscious. So the little nickname for it is that we're downloading it. And so it's also not just downloading, but it is also removing some things if you've said yes to that. And I want to say that the idea of these downloads is basically adding to your emotional and intellectual, at the subconscious level, adding to your vocabulary. So let's say you go through life depressed. Well, you certainly do know what it feels like to be depressed and how to and all of that. And it becomes a biochemical state as well as a mental and emotional state. So if I'm working with you, I'm not controlling the outcome. What I'm doing is offering you some other ideas, other feelings, other beliefs. But let's say if we were working on depression, I just downloaded for you what it feels like to have joy. Now you both know what it feels like to have depression and what it feels like to have joy. But what it feels like to have depression is a biochemical state that you have lived in for years. So there is such familiarity with that you're less likely, even with what it feels like to have joy, you're not likely to just switch all of a sudden. So we get very more detailed And we do with the download, not just what it feels like to have joy, but what it feels like to live without being depressed. So now your vocabulary includes, I know what it feels like to, you already know what it feels like to be depressed. We would never download that. But now you also know what it feels like to live without being depressed, and how to and when to, and that it's safe and that it's possible. It's a very thorough, I call it a full spectrum of beliefs around that. So now that you know both, you're more likely to go into that joy, let that become a part of your life, because now you know also that it's safe to live without being depressed. Because human nature will go to the familiar even if it's uncomfortable. There is a comfort in that familiarity, even if it's something that you don't really particularly think you want to keep. Does that make sense? A little bit? So some of these downloads will have without in them. And that is to give you all the vocabulary you need to really use the downloads. So I'm just going to, I wrote them down so I wouldn't forget. So I'm going to read it. And if you like the idea, you just say yes. If you nod your head, it might work. Just even if you're, I think everybody's muted. So it's your subconscious that needs to hear you. I don't need to hear you. So would you like to know what it feels like to be alone without being lonely? And then just say yes for that, if you like that. Would you like to know what it feels like to deal with adversity with a sense of adventure? And say yes out loud to yourself. Yes. Would you like to know what it feels like to see that change needs to happen without feeling powerless, hopeless, and out of control? Would you like to know what it feels like to be a power in your own life, no matter what the circumstances are? Would you like to know what it feels like to be safe in your human body? Would you like to know what it feels like to be safe where you live? Would you like to know what it feels like to be safe in relationships? Would you like to know what it feels like to be safe financially? Would you like to know what it feels like to be safe in the world and safe on the earth? Would you like to know what it feels like to be connected to the earth? Would you like to know what it feels like to know that you can change your life, that you have everything you need inside to make change in your life, and to trust that you can make change in your life? Would you like to know what it feels like to own your power? And this is an interesting download. It's more of a feeling or a template. Would you like to know what it feels like to have the breath of life? Or would you like to know, again, this is like giving a blueprint to the current day situation with your body. Would you like to know what it feels like for your body to be completely healthy? And would you like to know what it feels like to be peaceful, to be calm, and to be helpful? Would you like to know that you are important, that your needs are important, your thoughts are important, that you belong here, and that you make a difference? Would you like to know what it feels like to be loved unconditionally, and to know that you always have been? Sometimes you might not have noticed, but you always have been. Would you like to know what that feels like? Would you like to know that it's never too late to have a happy life? Would you like to know that grief from loss of loved ones, loss of financial security, loss of community, any form of grief of something you've lost, that this is something you will move through? It is not permanent. By its very nature, this is something that we use to further distill our values and our goals, and to move forward with more strength and more purpose. So grief will serve a purpose, and it will not stay in that painful state. You will get through it. So would you like to know all of that? At the subconscious level, of course. Even if intellectually you think you already know, let's get it deeper. Would you like to know that you can be, and what it feels like to be, more resourceful and creative in the face of adversity and restrictions? Okay. Finding the rest of my notes here. Would you like to know what it feels like to face adversity without fear, knowing that you have what it takes to make changes inspired by adversity? Would you like to know what it feels like to have joy for no good reason? Would you like to know what it feels like to be able to see and discern that we are seeing creativity, peace, love, understanding, reaching out, sharing, caring? We're seeing it all over the world. And to see it and be inspired by that part of humanity, that it cannot be reduced by a mere pandemic or economic crash. So to see that humanity has these enduring qualities that rise up during hardship. Would you like to be able to pull that out of what's going on in daily life? And then to feel gratitude for the little things on a daily basis. So would you also like to know what it feels like to continue feeling that gratitude as the restrictions and fears subside, to let it become a bigger part of you each and every day? Would you like, I'm almost done, would you like to know what it feels like to see a beautiful future? That you have the power now to make decisions and plans that will carry you into your future? Would you like to know that it isn't all happening to you, that life will also happen from you and by you? And then would you like to know what it feels like to trust your own judgment and your own intuition, to hear your guides and guidance more clearly and easily? And what it feels like to just simply sit and feel at peace. So those are the downloads I'll do for you. Well, I won't be doing them. I'll be taking them up to the higher power, and that will be coming in for you. So then I'll just let you sit for a moment. Then we'll move on to the hypnosis part of it, which is really a guided imagery. So if you are new to this, it doesn't matter how you see or feel or imagine. So I would prefer to say, even though it's guided, I would prefer to say that you will imagine or pretend or make believe these things that I'm suggesting. However it is that when you're thinking these things to yourself, oh, I'm just pretending, that's fine. Because sometimes if people go into these guided things and they think, oh, I have to see it like a movie, and I'm not, so I'm doing something wrong, or I'm not getting anything out of it, that's not a concern you should have. So just go into it with the sense of play, of exploring, of having an experience, of using this childlike imagination. And if you find you're not getting something, quit trying and just play. So before we start, any questions about what I just did with the downloads? Actually, all I did was get your approval of them, but did anybody get inspired to ask for anything else? So let's just get comfy and cozy. This isn't a long trance state, but it is. So you want to be sure you're not going to fall out of the chair. Okay, so nice deep breath. And just exhale and let your eyes close gently. Very good. And just imagine that you can center your own beautiful energy in your heart. There's a part of your heart, no matter what else is happening in your heart, there's a part of your heart that is peaceful and calm. So you find that lovely space that everyone has, even if it's tiny, you can fit in. And then, having focused your energy into your heart, imagine sending that energy down all the way through your body, down through the soles of your feet, and let it travel downward into Mother Earth. So you're sending it with love because it's coming from your heart, all the way down into Mother Earth, your home, this gift of a home that we have, we all share. And as your energy is touching into and mingling with the energy of Mother Earth, it becomes recharged, revitalized, rejuvenated, cleaned up. And imagine now pulling that energy back up through the soles of your feet, and letting it fill from toe to head, letting that energy move up through the energy centers of your body. If you know your chakras, you can imagine that this energy is charging them up. It will, even if you don't know your chakras. It's traveling all the way up to the crown of your head. Very good. And now imagine that that energy forms above your head. It moves up and forms above your head a beautiful ball of light. You might notice how beautiful that is. You may notice what color it is. You might simply feel a little pressure on the crown of your head. You might just, frankly, know that it's there. Any way that you experience it is perfect. And now we stretch our imagination and we imagine stepping into that ball of light so that, poof, there you are. You're surrounded by this incredible orb of light. And it becomes this amazing vehicle. It begins to lift up away from Earth, moving up toward the stars. And as it does, you begin to feel lighter, freer, safer. And the higher your ball of light rises, the lighter and freer and safer you feel. It's that feeling of going somewhere wonderful where you know all is well. And this light rises, this ball of light rises higher and faster, moving up into and through all the stars. And as it leaves the stars, you begin to notice that it's moving through layer after layer of bright light. And then it moves up even higher into beautiful gold light. And then it moves even higher into a field of beautiful colors. And it navigates for you. It takes you into this beautiful pink haze that surrounds your ball of light with the most incredible feeling of compassion. And just enjoy for that moment what it feels like simply to be surrounded by compassion. The pure form. And then, in the midst of this beautiful pink haze, I want you to notice an opening, like a doorway. And you can see through, you can see that on the other side of that doorway is this incredible, sparkly, bright white light. As soon as you notice that, your ball of light is literally propelled through that opening, and you whoosh and zoom deeply into this field of that bright, sparkly, iridescent white light. You no longer need that ball of light, and it falls away, and there you are suspended in that sparkly, now tingly, iridescent white light. This is the energy of pure love, the energy of your higher power. You are made from this. Inside every cell in your body is a spark of this life, of this light. It animates your life. It gives life. Because you were made from this pure love, this pure energy of creation, because you were made from this, you have the birthright to work with it. So here's my suggestion for today. I want you to imagine that you can reach into your life, you can reach into your situations, your relationships, your feelings, your attitudes, your ideas, any part of you in your experience of life that you are either wanting to change or you're bored with or you want to be done with. Imagine you can just take that in your hands and literally hand it over. As you open your hands to hand this over, just watch as it lifts and forms more sparkly light, because it all is only energy to begin with. You're recycling. You're getting free of what you're really done with. It's like, oh, I already have the t-shirt for that. I don't need the experience anymore. Give it back. Give it over. If it's just boring, it's not serving you, hand it over. So while you take time to do that silently in your mind, I will take the moment to have all those downloads also brought to you. So take your time. And now you have some room. You have room to bring in things that you're really ready for. So now, and thank you for your patience and letting me do the other work at that same time. Now open your arms, if you, in any way that you may imagine, and bring in whatever you've been wanting. Just imagine it come right in, that you take it and you bring it in. It can be feelings, it can be relationships, it can be jobs, it can be a car, it can be material things and immaterial things, things that are just thoughts and feelings. And just bring in as much as you want. The more the better. The faster your life and your subconscious will get busy on it, the more you bring in. And then you know that you can come back anytime. And of course, you'll have a wonderful replay to guide you back. So you can do this as many times as you would like. But for now, it's time to return to your own space, coming back down over the crown of your head and moving into your heart and staying very relaxed with your eyes still closed, because now we have another experience to do while you're in this nice, relaxed state. So just breathe and relax, noticing that things may feel quite different right now. And I want you to notice that some things do feel quite different right now. And we're going to create an anchor. We're going to be using what is, many of you are familiar with, NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. We're going to use one of the techniques to create an anchor. And what that means is that we are going to anchor within you, within your neurology and your mind, which isn't exactly the same thing as your brain. We're going to anchor whatever feelings you decide you would like to have. So I want you to just imagine any time in your life when you were handling an adverse situation and you felt confident, or imagine doing so if you don't have a memory of one, because now you have such a vocabulary to choose from. It's easier to imagine. So just imagine you easily and confidently handling an adverse situation, turning things around, with confidence, with creativity. If you have difficulty thinking something up, you can think of someone else that you know who has done that, and imagine experiencing it through them. And then let that feeling stay, and we're going to layer. We're going to add a layer of feeling peaceful, feeling secure, feeling safe. If you have a time in your past that you felt peaceful, secure, safe, some combination of that, then you can bring that to mind. And if you don't, then again, you can imagine sometime you experienced someone else doing that and borrow those feelings. You're adding a layer. Confidence, security. And then I want you to imagine a time that you have just been joyful. If you can't find a time that you have been truly joyful, then again, you can borrow from someone that you know who has been joyful, and you can borrow that feeling. So you're layering confident, peaceful, joyful. And I want you to imagine a time that you were enjoying being creative. And again, if you need to, you can borrow from someone else. And you're layering, you're adding that layer so that you have what it feels like to be confident, what it feels like to be peaceful, what it feels like to be joyful, and what it feels like to be creative, all within you at the same time. And of course, those have been included in the downloads that were just done. So you have it, even if you think you needed to borrow it. And as you sit there with those feelings, I want you to notice if you were in an adverse situation, is there something else that you would also like to feel? And go ahead and add anything you like, another layer of personal choice. And then, as you notice this sense of confidence and peace and joy and creativity, and this other feeling of your personal choice, as you notice all of those and how that feels, how magnificent that is, how powerful that is, I want you to allow yourself either to hear a word or choose a word, one key word that is your private key word for this group of feelings. So find the word, make the word up, whatever you like. And then we're going to do two things simultaneously. In a moment, we're going to say silently in your mind that keyword, and you're also going to press your thumb and your fingertip, any finger you choose. So thumb and fingertip, I like to say like an OK sign. You'll just press thumb and fingertip together at the very same time that you're silently saying your word. So let's do step one, which is notice the feelings. Really get into those feelings. Confidence, peace, joy, creativity, whatever else you've added. And let those feelings become stronger and stronger. And when they just can't get any better, silently you say your key word and you press those fingers together and release. And then I can only see some faces, but just nod your head visibly so I know that you're ready. Okay. And again, if you want to do this again, you'll have a replay. So for now, I want you just to relax the hand. You don't need to keep holding it that way. Imagine that beautiful energy of yours spreading with all those new feelings, radiating from the top of your head down to the tip of your toes. Breathing in more energy, bringing your awareness to your body. What position are you sitting in? Where are your hands? Where are your feet? What is the room around you? Just start noticing. Start feeling more energy flowing through your body. Maybe you feel like stretching or wiggling a little bit. And in a moment, you'll be able to come back to full awareness, coming back to the room, feeling refreshed and wonderful. So here we go, coming all the way back, opening your eyes. Welcome back. So you've done a lot. Takes just a moment or two. If you're not used to doing this, it takes a moment or two to feel all the way back connected to the real world. So what happens now is that the downloads are there. They do make you feel different. If your subconscious is happy with those, it's choosing those, you feel different. And you'll notice as you go through your days that you're just reacting differently to things. And you may notice it or somebody else may point it out to you. Because when something happens at the subconscious, it's very organic. It can end up feeling like, oh, I've always been this way. Your friends and family may tell you, no, you haven't always been this way. So that's one thing, is you just kind of look for how things feel different for you as you go through. And then let's say you're faced with a situation, any kind of situation. So this anchor that I had you to build today and build in is very universally useful. And it's yours to keep for life. Every time you use it, it works better. It gets stronger and stronger. You cannot overdose on your anchor. So just use it. Use it in any situation that you would rather feel more confident or more peaceful or more creative or more joyful. Just use your anchor because it's built in. And how you do that? You have three parts. You have your intention. So that quick thought of, I don't like the way I'm feeling. I'd rather have the resource of what happens with my anchor. So that's the quick thought of the intent. So your mind knows that when you actually do the finger press and the word, it knows what you want. It's going to do it for you. And so steps 2 and 3 happen simultaneously. You just say your keyword and press. And I'm having to hold my hand up because of the camera, but you don't have to. You can have your hand in your pocket. You can use either hand. And we've experimented. You can actually, if your hands are full and you really need this anchor, just imagine doing the finger press. Still say your word. Still have your intention. Say your word in your head silently. You do not say it out loud. But you can, if your hands are full and you really need that anchor, just imagine the finger press and it will work. So congratulations, you did a lot of work today. Does anyone have any questions or comments?
Thank you so much, Beth. That was really amazing. It was a whole package of wow feelings. I would like to hear, I would love to hear from the people, how did you feel? Now, I felt a lot of heat. I'm glad I have the AC on here because I was going to just throw off my jacket. What did others feel? Curious if you had some feelings, some emotions while you were in your bubble, in your energy bubble. Danielle actually zoned out. Beryl is saying, yes, warm and cozy.
So Danielle, you say you zoned out. However, even so, you got all of the downloads you said yes to. So even if you had a lovely nap, you still got all the downloads that you said yes to prior to going into trance, because I took that time while you were silently doing some work. I took that time to ask for the downloads for you. So if you zoned out, go back and watch the replay and do it again. She was hyper downloading and deep. Perfect. Perfect.
It was really nice for me to experience. It was a wonderful feeling for me, and anchoring was great. I really enjoyed it, and I didn't know about theta healing, so I certainly learned, Elizabeth. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you for being here.
I love the part where you were like, and reach to the universe and hand over whatever worries you have. And I was like, here's COVID, take it. And I was, in exchange, I want some health, please. Just hand me over some health in exchange. And I was like, and I was like, here are all my fears, take them. In exchange, I want some peace. And then when you were asking about think of a word. So like, my comfort place is usually like food. I was like, banana bread. I'm like, no, let's not do that. Because every time I want to have some peace, I'm going to reach for banana bread. So I had to really think hard about a word that was not food related. I loved it. I loved it because now I have a little word in my mind that's going to be comfort. It's not going to be a food item. So thank you for, leading us through this really awesome experience.
Thanks for all that.
I thought it was calming, and I felt hope.
Thank you. Hope is something I left out of the downloads. So anybody that wanted hope, hopefully you did that in your own experience. That is a wonder. Hope is fabulous as a noun. It may not be as useful as a verb. We like to sort of diss people who say, oh, I hope, and change it to I know I can or whatever. But hope, that feeling, is a beautiful thing.
I would like to thank you, Beth, one more time for doing that, for bringing in a little bit of a maybe new technique for a lot of people. So that combination, I guess, between hypnosis and theta healing, putting it together and just downloading. We download so much stuff on our phones. We keep downloading new apps and new programs. So let's download programs that are useful to us. Thank you so much, Beth, again. Thank you, everybody else, for being on the call tonight. I really appreciate you taking the time and being there and listening to these amazing speakers that are giving their time every single night. Again, for those of you who came in late, my name is Mona Abdurrahim Santel, and I'm the owner of Mind Your Power, and that's what it is about. It's really about regaining your power and not giving it to any coronavirus or anything else happening outside, any news. We are not saying that it doesn't exist, but we're saying do something for yourself. Yeah, and every single night we have a different speaker who is giving you a lot of techniques. They're giving so much from their knowledge, from their pot of knowledge. So if you like to be with us on the call every night, I left a couple of links here. The first link is You can register at that MailChimp address, and you'll get an email from me every day with the speaker of the day. And you will also get the reminder and the replays the day after. Now, if you're curious to see what you missed, just go to the second link that you see there. It's my website, mindyourpower.org. It's your life, all speakers, and you can watch all the replays to everything you have missed. Now, if you have anything that you think is useful to people, it can be a technique. If you are a therapist, if you work with energy, if you work with feng shui, with yoga, with anything, or if you don't have any of this background, but you have a very inspiring story to share, something that can help other people who are maybe nowadays going through fear or anxieties, then please send me an email to the last link that is in there, to my email address, because I would like to welcome you on this show. I would love everybody who would like to speak to come here and speak and give the world something positive. Take them away from maybe negative news for about 45 minutes a day. For now, again, thank you very much for being here. And Beth, lots of love to you, to Florida. And love to you all. And good night. Goodbye, wherever you are in the world.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Elizabeth. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.